What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and we're here with Dean Skurka, President and CEO of WonderFi Technologies. It's a pleasure to have you on today, Dean, talking all about this exciting news. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having us. Look forward to doing this.
Yes, for sure. It's been a while, and you guys have put a lot of hard work into this. So, first off, I want to say congratulations on the completion of the acquisition. This historic transaction establishes WonderFi as one of the largest regulated crypto investing ecosystems in Canada, with over 1.6 million registered users. What is WonderFi's core focus following the acquisition?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we're super excited to complete this acquisition and get on the other side and start integrating these businesses together. Going forward, our core focuses will really be on crypto trading, which is at our core competency with respect to the Bitbuy and Coinberry acquisitions we closed on last year, and crypto payments, which is going to be a really important vertical for us going forward on the acquisition of CoinSmart subsidiary SmartPay. So moving forward, we really expect to focus our time and attention on Bitbuy and CoinSquare from a crypto trading platform perspective, and then CoinSmart's subsidiary SmartPay from a B2B crypto payments, fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat payment gateway solution.
So when it comes to WonderFi shareholders, what does this merger mean for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this acquisition represents the scale that's required at the crypto trading platform level to operate a compliant and regulated crypto trading platform successfully and cost effectively within the Canadian market. And then it also represents significant upside with respect to SmartPay and the B2B payment, crypto payments segment that we think is a really exciting and fast growing vertical within the cryptocurrency industry. And last but not least, through this acquisition, WonderFi is now a 43% shareholder in Tetra Trust, which is Canada's only qualified custodian for digital assets.
That's pretty substantial. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. How will WonderFi bring all these brands and businesses together successfully? That's my question, I guess.
Yeah, it's a great question and something we've obviously spent a lot of time thinking about. And now that the acquisition's closed, we're starting to actually put in action and put that into action. And so, like I've mentioned, we're really looking to focus our efforts from a crypto trading platform perspective around Bitbuy and CoinSquare. These are two of Canada's longest serving and most well-established brands within the crypto industry. CoinSquare last year obtained IROC registration, which is the highest bar for regulation a crypto trading platform can have in Canada and, to my knowledge, in North America. Our job now is to integrate all of our crypto trading activity within that registered dealer and focus on both the CoinSquare and Bitbuy brands. One of the most obvious examples, as you may know, Bitbuy launched staking last November, one of the first regulated platforms in Canada to be able to offer staking services in a compliant and regulated manner. And one of our core focuses will be how do we bring that product over to the CoinSquare side. There are components of the CoinSquare product and offering that we'll look to integrate into the Bitbuy solution as well. And these are some of the synergies that we're really excited about. When you bring these two companies together, there's best-in-class resources from an employment perspective, and also all the development and experience that these platforms have developed over the years. Bringing them together, understanding what works across both sides, and then marrying them into one unified offering is something we're really excited to bring to the market.
The best of both. So, could you tell us more about SmartPay, as is noted as WonderFi's new crypto payment solution, and the answer to the challenges, we've seen in the crypto payment landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the use cases we've seen really emerge in the last few years within the crypto industry has been payments. Mm-hmm. Most commonly, people can think about stable coins and how they can improve flow of funds across international boundaries or for commerce, and whether it's reduced fees or no chargebacks. There's a ton of excitement around this use case within the crypto industry. What SmartPay does really effectively is allows merchants to not only accept US dollar stablecoins, but other digital assets as well that people are commonly holding. And so for us and for SmartPay, it's really important to educate merchants that around the solution. Some of the most exciting things that we think cryptocurrency payments can solve are chargebacks. When something is transacted on the blockchain. There is no ability for chargebacks to occur. And I think the most important piece is, price risk. And so most commonly, if people think that they will accept Bitcoin as a payment for services or a product, as an example, they think there's price risk, and that, say the invoice was for $100, they're concerned by holding the Bitcoin, the price could fluctuate up or down. Obviously more concerned with it fluctuating down. What SmartPay does is it liquidates the Bitcoin or the digital asset received immediately, so that a vendor or merchant can expect with confidence to receive the invoice price less the applicable processing fees, eliminating any associated risk with holding on to digital assets with respect to their pricing. And so, you look at this solution long term, and as I mentioned, as adoption for digital assets continues to grow, and as younger demographics are more familiar with not only holding digital assets but using them for payment, if I'm a merchant, I'm going to expand my horizon and my ability to attract a wider net of clientele by offering digital assets as a form of payment. And now when SmartPay comes in and says, well, we can eliminate all the pricing risk and eliminate the chargeback risk associated with some of these transactions from a more traditional perspective, that starts to become a pretty compelling offering. We think the education will be the biggest barrier for merchants, and it's our job to really educate them on the solution and why they should be embracing cryptocurrency as a form of payments.
So for investors, SmartPay, what does this mean for them?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting for investors in WonderFi. Traditionally, WonderFi has been focused on crypto trading and revenues associated with crypto trading platforms and activity. A lot of that, is subject to sentiment in the market with respect to digital assets. And as we've seen in years like 2021, from a revenue perspective, that can be really exciting. And then when the market starts to consolidate and go through periods like we've seen more recently, it can become perhaps too volatile from an investor perspective. We believe SmartPay is one of our answers to the volatility within our revenue. And when you're using SmartPay and when merchants are incorporating SmartPay into their offering, what you're really seeing is a use case around payments that is less tied to sentiment or price. People are using this as a pure utility, and they're less agnostic to price impact than they otherwise would be if they're speculating or buying and selling. And so part of our overall strategy is to provide WonderFi shareholders with more predictable and B2B as revenue streams. Staking is one really good example from a predictable revenue perspective. And we think SmartPay really adds to that as well. And then at the same time, as I mentioned, gives us exposure to B2B offerings as opposed to being predominantly focused on retail.
That really makes sense to me. So could you tell us more about Tetra Trust now?
Yeah, absolutely. Tetra Trust was incubated within the CoinSquare offices, many years ago. There really is no Canadian custodian that can offer Canadians an ability to not only safeguard their digital assets, but maintain those private keys in Canada. And so what we believe is part of the growing trend, whether it's institutions or high net worths that are looking to not only buy and sell digital assets, but also safeguard them in a compliant manner, there is a growing emphasis on maintaining those private keys within Canada. And so being a 43% owner in the only qualified custodian, regulated custodian in the country to safeguard digital assets gives us a really exciting opportunity to support that business. With their regulatory standing in place, companies like Bitbuy, companies like CoinSquare can reliably custody their client assets with Tetra in a safe and compliant and Canadian solution. More recently, Tetra announced that they received the first of its kind license in Canada to offer staking solutions as a custodian. And so what you can see, or what you can expect to see rather, as we move forward, is a focused effort on supporting that asset and that business. And so today, CoinSquare would custody some of their assets with Tetra. Shortly, we'll be looking at ways in which Bitbuy can do the same. And then longer term, we'll be looking at ways that Bitbuy can work with Tetra from a staking perspective. And then as we enable those functionalities on the CoinSquare platform, to similarly do so using Tetra as the custodian.
Great. So, we all know the amount of volatility the market has experienced over the last few years. It's been tremendous and it continues to be a challenging environment. Could you tell us more about the current market landscape, along with a bit more about the plans you have on how to successfully navigate it?
Yeah, I mean, historically, I've been involved in the industry long enough to be a part of a few of these, bear markets, if you will, or down cycles. And, I think at that, in those moments in time, it's really important for the business to focus on where they want their product to go when things do start to turn around. Use it as a period to really improve your product, build out the functionality that you want to see in your product, and take the time to make those improvements. One example would be what Bitbuy did with staking last year. And so as we, look to improve upon the offering that we provide, we're really expecting that market cycles will turn around eventually. Obviously we can't be predicting if and when, but being in the industry as long as I have and some of us have, we're really confident that this market will see the other side. More specifically, we've seen a growing trend, certainly within Canada. Canada is one of the few countries in the world that has clear regulation in place for crypto trading platforms. A more recent trend, as I mentioned, is that international platforms that are currently not complying with this regulation in place, or are not, starting the process to become regulated in Canada, are leaving the market. And so as large international platforms leave Canada and focus on other jurisdictions, WonderFi is cemented in Canada. Our roots are in Canada. We're some of the first licensed companies in Canada to go through these processes. We have incredibly good standing relationship with the regulators, and we're committed to this country. And so as we continue to demonstrate that, as we continue to roll out new innovative products like staking, we believe that our footprint in this country will continue to grow, and that it'll be clear to participants and investors that in terms of crypto access in Canada, WonderFi is one of or the go-to destination.
So why are international platforms leaving the Canadian marketplace?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I can't speak for any one of them particularly, but I think if I had to look at the totality of their businesses and the ways in which they operate, when you look at modifying that significantly for the Canadian market, where perhaps some of these larger platforms derive a lot of their volume and revenues from other jurisdictions, it becomes it starts to become a cost benefit analysis. And so, companies that have made the decision to leave, have probably made that decision, in conjunction with prioritizing other jurisdictions. And so, being based in Canada, building our businesses in Canada, has given us a really firm understanding of Canadian regulation and the Canadian market. And so we, as like I said, a Canadian-based business, are very much focused on this market, making sure that this market is serviced in the way that it should be. And really, what we think of is, if platforms like WonderFi and through WonderFi, CoinSquare, Bitbuy, don't focus on these markets, the Canadian clientele are subject to a lot of unfortunate risk. You take a look at Voyager and Celsius, for example. There was no yield, platforms that offered yield generating services like they did in Canada because of regulation. And now this did not stop, unfortunately, Canadian users from finding those services. And so for us, it's really important to work with the regulators to say, the Canadian market is interested in digital assets. They want to buy and sell digital assets. They want to stake their digital assets. They want to be able to take advantage of the products and services that are offered globally. By not finding a way to offer these services in a regulatory compliant manner in Canada, we're pushing our audience offshore. And when you do so, you put a significant amount of risk on those users and the platforms that they eventually end up using. And so for us, it's incredibly important to have the good relationship with the regulators, to be able to identify the products and services that our clients want, and to be able to work with our regulators to offer those in a compliant manner. And so one of the benefits from a WonderFi perspective is obviously that we'll have more products and services available to our 1.6 million plus Canadian users. And from a industry-wide perspective, enabling these users to engage with these products and services in a regulatory compliant manner within the jurisdiction where there is recourse for users gives them a ton of confidence and gives the industry an ability to grow in the right way. And so, we're really committed to the Canadian market and ensuring that Canadians have the access that they need in a reliable and compliant manner to the digital asset ecosystem.
So finally, Dean, why should current investors or prospective shareholders be taking a closer look at WonderFi today? Why is now such a, you could say, pivotal time in your business?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, on the back of this acquisition, we feel really strong about the opportunity that WonderFi has, the assets that we own and operate. And if you look at it, we really think WonderFi represents 4 market-leading crypto platforms in Canada, being Bitbuy, CoinSquare, SmartPay, and Tetra through our investment. We are fully funded for growth with a strong balance sheet. We have Canada's largest user base with over 1.65 million Canadians and $17 billion traded lifetime across the platforms that we own and operate. And we made a very focused effort on diversifying our revenue streams. And as I mentioned, whether it's with staking or our B2B crypto payments offering through SmartPay, we have really focused on diversifying our revenue streams from being solely focused around crypto trading into more predictable and B2B streams. And so we feel incredibly, strong about the opportunity in front of us. We think this company represents the clear leader in the digital asset industry for Canada, and we're excited to integrate these businesses together and prove it out to the market.
Well, thank you for all the updates, Dean. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad you guys could get the transaction done, the acquisition done, and I'm excited to cover it since we've been covering you guys since before your IPO. So always be supporting, and thank you.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
If you like these videos, kindly hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Drop us a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, always remember, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. Furthermore, this video may or may not have been sponsored by the companies that we've profiled within this video, and we may or may not own shares of any of the profiled companies in this video. If you want to know the full disclosure details, check the description down below along with thoroughly reading our disclaimer. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.